All right, open live hands. Let me get you on mine. Yes, we will be live on Facebook Live today. Open live will be. Yes, indeed. Getting ready. Just give me a minute. I'll be with you. All right. Oh, yeah. My theme music ready. Give myself a big thumbs up there. And share so it's on my own page. All right. Yeah, start. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I know it's high, y'all. Give me a minute. We'll get on the air. All right. Doing music on here. Here we go. Sicky. Yeah, I'm with you. Don't worry. All right. Here we go, y'all. Those of us that enjoy or commit intellectual violence suffer the pleasure of mental masturbation with equal dignity. We do so because change is depression, responses are deep and difficult to Good morning, my children of the sun. Welcome to the Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM. I'm your host and third eye optometrist, Patrice Gibbs, ready to get that eye open. You know, I often invite people to challenge anything I say on the air. And let me tell you something. If you're not ready for the flames, don't awaken the dragon, because you will get burned. This is the Open Eye. I'm Patrice Gibbs. And as I always tell you, don't wait until Saturday morning to tune in to WHGE 95.3 FM, the education station, where you will get some education. For instance, on Fridays, we have the Linwood Jackson Show, 4 p.m. Linwood is hitting you from vast experience with Mr. Jackson. And then it's, what is it, at, I think at 8, you know, after you hear some swinging jazz. Yup, I can't leave out at 6. Black History Facts and Reflections. That's a daily show. Probably the only daily show that gives us Black History facts for that day in the country. And that's hosted by our illustrious leader, Mr. Harmon Carey. And of course, we have, on Friday nights, we have No Joking, Stop Smoking with Raheem Darden, award-winning host. great team on WHGE 95.3 FM. Today at 5, we will have the weekend review. The weekend review with Alan Lawrence. Don't miss that. I always want, like I say all the time, almost want to call him Dr. Alan Lawrence because he brings such banging information to you. Okay, last week I talked about how I got my name, how I got where I am, what I was prepared for, and what have you, by my mother. My mother was a Pan-Africanist, Black nationalist, and she had every intention of me doing the work that I do. And I tell you, I can remember being asked because some of this work has gotten me in some real trouble at times. And I can remember a couple of people asking me, if you had it to do over again, considering what you suffered, would you do the same thing? And my answer is yes, and I'm gonna tell you why. My biggest fear is getting into the afterlife and my ancestors stand there with their hands out to welcome me, and they notice my hands don't have any scars like theirs do. And then being asked, did you not continue to fight? This is The Open Eye. I'm Patrice Gibbs. The Open Eye is brought to you by the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets, the founders and builders of the Pearl Center, the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets, making difference in the lives of veterans all over Delaware.
Expressed on The Open Eye are those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the policy or position of WHGE 95.3 FM or our sponsor, the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets. Any content provided by Open Eye's hosts, guests, or contributors are theirs and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, company, or individual.
All right. Thank you, Sister Nzinga. Glad to have you join us. Make sure you share. All right. Ready to get back on the air here. We will be joined by my man Nsoromma soon, I'm sure. He's always on the way. Okay. Sometimes I like to wax philosophically and give you some inspiration. I know it's a rainy day. I said I always open my show with "Good morning, my children of the sun." But like the great Maurice White said, if you don't know who that is, ask your mama or your grandmother. The great Maurice White said, "Wish upon a sunny day to turn the rain. Use the sunshine in your heart to ease the pain." I know people go through a lot of things and what have you. And I see your scars. But you know what? Your scars tell a story. They're reminders when life tried to break you but failed. Remember, you have existed from all eternity, and behold, you're still here. And you shall exist till the end of time, for your being has no end. Okay? Sometimes, you have problems and you just wonder how you're going to make it, which is how I got some of them scars and what have you. But tell you what, let it go. Expect miracles. Wait without anxiety. And know that the universe has your back. Your soul knows what it needs when it needs it. It will always lead you to your truth. Listen to that gut feeling and trust it. It is the light from within informing you of your higher self. The universe does this thing where it aligns you with people and things and situations that match your vibration. The higher you're vibrating, the more you will attract things that are beneficial to your being, to your well-being. So I got some more for you. You know what? Don't pretend to be someone you're not, because you're pretty good at being you. You might not be proud of some of the things you've done, but be proud of who you are today. You may not be perfect, but you don't need to be. And good morning, Sherry, who has joined us on Facebook Live. I'm Patrice Gibbs. This is The Open Eye. Yes, indeed. Sherry, baby. Good morning. Glad you could join us. Glad we're back. We missed you last week because we weren't Facebook Live last week. We're here now. All right. Let's see here. All right. WHGE 95.3 FM. The Open Eye. When I was in the Air Force, I was stationed in Turkey. Really enjoyed the year that I stayed there. I bring that up because I want to give a big ups to Turkey. Big ups to Turkey. A portrait of American political activist and civil rights leader. Okay, I'll go with that. Malcolm X, as he holds an 8mm movie camera in the London airport, is being shown at the embassy, the U.S. embassy in Turkey, at the insistence of the Turks. City authorities in Ankara, the capital of Turkey, have officially renamed the street where the new U.S. embassy is being built to Malcolm X Avenue, after the famed Black Muslim leader. Hate to qualify that, I'm reading this from an article. According to state-run media agency Anadolu, Saturday, Turkish leaders announced that the city assembly had accepted the name change unanimously. This is something that a lot of us didn't know about Malcolm. When Malcolm traveled overseas, he was greeted by many countries as though he were a head of state. This is how respected his leadership was. Big ups, Turkey. Big ups. Much respect to you for respecting Malcolm. Some things going on locally. This is, I want to thank one of my buddies for pointing this out to me. A woman's car here in Wilmington was illegally, privately towed from public property in downtown Wilmington. All right, and this happened at the Queen on Market Street. She was parked in front of the Queen, and some employee from the Queen came out and told her that she couldn't park there. Well, it was Sunday, and she pointed to the sign that specifically said, no parking is permitted in this loading zone between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Dominique Grant, who lives across the street from the Queen, this is Sunday. I can park here. It's convenient for me to do so, and I will. Well, she said late that night, she had a conversation with someone to the Queen, and she went out to retrieve some water. The girl came up to her and said, "You need to move your car. There's a tollway zone." And she said, "Actually, it's a loading zone. I can park here." She went out the next day and her car was gone. She contacted Wilmington police to see whether she had been issued a parking violation. She learned she had. Wilmington police didn't tow her car. She was parked legally. They had no reason to. The law clearly states only Wilmington police, using the city's authorized tow company, can tow a vehicle from public property. Okay, but the excuse me, the arrogant people, privileged people at the Queen decided that was their parking spot no matter what, and they had this young lady's car towed. Now here's the real crazy part. Let me get here. Her car was towed by National Auto Movers, who are obviously contracted with the Queen to tow people's cars, you know, when they're in violation or whatever. And they told her they can't, you know, they can't authorize a tow on behalf of private property. Now, she took a lift to the towing company, which is on South Market Street, to pick up her car, but she was presented, and check this out, with an affidavit that she was required to sign in order to obtain her car. Who do these people think they are? She could have walked away with her car right then, not paid a penny, with all charges waived, but she didn't. And I'm glad you didn't, Miss Grant. She wants to make sure this doesn't happen again, so she's suing National Auto Movers in the Justice of Peace for $8,000 in punitive economic and non-economic damages. She probably needs to sue the Queen too, because they were the arrogant fools that decided she couldn't park there and had her car towed. You know, she rightfully called the illegal towing company, you know, that they were grossly negligent and was in clear disregard of her rights. We're not to put up with that. And I'm glad Miss Grant will not put up with that, and that she is suing them. And like I said, I hope she sues the Queen too, because, you know, it's obvious that the Queen called the towing company. They had no business doing that, and they should be punished for doing so. They should definitely be punished for doing so. Don't let these people in their privileged minds get away with doing things and taking away your rights. This is the Open Eye, Patrice Gibbs. All right, moving right along. Don't forget to share us on Facebook Live. I think I put up a watch party. Yeah. That's it. Oh, I got plenty more for you. I got some stuff coming up. Okay. I think I'm going to give y'all a little history first. Start off with this here. Keep my stories in order because there's a method to my madness. Check me out. Dave Brubeck, Take 5. One of my favorite tunes. You probably heard it all. If you're an open eye listener, I know you've heard it on here before. Yeah, buddy. All right. Black History Month is coming up. They're here at WHGE 95.3, the education station. You are educated in our history every day. Right? With our illustrious leader, Mr. Harmon Carey, with his Black History Facts and Reflections. Of course, I am a student of our history, and I like our people to know about our history. We're going to go back some. Many years before the colonial invasion of Africa, there existed one of the most powerful kingdoms between what is now modern-day Mauritania and Mali, located at the south of the Sahara Desert and northwest of the Senegal and Niger rivers. The Ghana Kingdom, I hope many of you heard of that. Please look it up if you hadn't. Existed between 1830 and 1235 AD, and it remains one of the strongest ever and richest African kingdoms with a rich culture. It is often mistaken for modern-day Ghana, formerly known as the Gold Coast. Before thriving as a successful kingdom, the kings and leaders of Ghana were authoritarians and very particular about taxes. They collected their taxes. They gained more power by intelligent exploitation and trade passing. The kings also acted as the leaders of the traditional cult, meaning their traditional spirituality. Okay, they were served by subjects and priests who were practically made to worship them. You know, we have to be careful the way we describe some of the spiritual practices of some of the ancient African empires, because like this statement said that they, you know, the priests and populace were practically made to worship the kings. This is really a fallacy, you know, and I'm gonna have to be careful with, you know, some of the writers that I allow to disseminate information for us on the air, because the leaders of many of the empires, you know, and this, you know, is something that comes from, you know, the Europeans' misunderstanding of the spirituality of the African. They were looked to by the people as the first prayer to the Creator. They were not made to worship. This is where, for instance, this is where the Greeks got confused when they invaded the already disseminated, declined empire of Egypt. They thought that the ruler was worshipped as a god. No, he was worshipped as first among equals to stand before God and what's the word I'm looking for here? Conservator of the populace prayer. So anyway, let's get on with that. They're known as the king of the people, or the people's king. See, that gives you an idea right there. The people's king. King Tekmenin, who ruled the kingdom around the 9th century, is considered one of the greatest African kings. During his reign, the kingdom flourished and became very wealthy, reaching its peak in economic power. And the reason I bring him up, he structured his leadership so well and was able to manage time and resources so well. He was very particular about taxes, but he made it a point to collect taxes, which would be used for the benefit of the people. Before his leadership, there was a growing tension between traditional spiritual practices and the Muslims that came into the land. To reach it out to the people and sometimes join in his Muslim servers' prayer, Tekmenin was successful in getting rid of the tensions that existed. Yeah. Now, it's what, 1,000 years before Abraham Lincoln, who was the 16th president, that Tekmenin practiced strong democracy within his kingdoms. It's a little history for you. Yeah. Yaga, what's up, my brother?
It's pouring out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's me coming from down the highway. What's up?
That the other thing, man.
Good morning, everyone.
We are now joined by Nsoromma on the air here. Yes, indeed. And we are Facebook Live, Nsoromma.
What's up, everybody on Facebook? You know? Yeah.
People that have responded.
Good morning.
Yes,
Good morning.
Sister Nsinga, we go back quite a ways. And my good friend and one of our greatest listeners and
That's right.
followers.
She be on us, yo.
Yeah, Sherry in the house.
What's up, Sherry?
Hey, much love to you, Sherry. Well, I was talking a little bit about our history about Ghana, but I want to move forward to Dr. King. And one of the things I mentioned was last week. I mentioned how Dr. King was too radical for the colonialist aristocrats of the civil rights movement. Some of them felt usurped by, the following that he had,
Right.
And what have you. And some of them decided, well, they was going to do something about it. One of these people that decided that they were going to do something about it was Solomon Lightfoot Michelle, who was a very well-known black evangelist at the time. What he did was he colluded with the FBI to take Dr. King down. He's a black man now.
I mean,
yeah.
That's, it's like when they can't get you, they find somebody to get you. And I mean, that's just the way it go. And whatever it is that you doing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you got an opposer, the opposer usually come into your establishment, community, facility, whatever you call it, and look for that I want to say link, but it's a word in front of link that I want to say, but I can't grab the right. You know what I'm saying? That link with that person that really is not part of your team anyway. He was a infiltrator.
Infiltrator.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what it was with Evangelist Michelle was, he was known before Martin. When Martin came along, when he led the Montgomery bus boycott, he's only 26 years old.
Right.
And he had the revolutionary spirit of the youth and what have you. And so he's doing things that, and saying things that upset the apple cart. Now, Michelle, he was known for his captivating sermons and his powerful radio ministry, as well as his activist ministry that assisted the poor and homeless. He was known for that. What a lot of people also didn't know was, of course, being that, he did this from his church. There were no taxes. There were donations that came from people that he did not want messed up. So there was a certain line he wouldn't cross, which Martin said, the hell with that. Our people are suffering. I'm crossing all these lines, as far as the powers that be were concerned.
Right.
Martin was a habitual line stepper,
right.
And rightfully so, Well, Michelle, what he did was he used his platform to try to shape public opinion against Martin. Yeah.
And that's a thing with our people, man. We never really unite and stick together for the one cause. There's always somebody that want to be on top,
right? Besides
the person that's on top. You know what I'm saying? Why we can't just all go with the flow that this person is directing and it's benefiting all of us? I don't understand why we can't do that, but that's something that's been programmed in us. From all of the post-traumatic stress that we have from being in captive. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we as a individual, we have to start as an individual. You can't be that sellout. So if you are the sellout, stop being a sellout, because it's more than just you and your family. It's the whole it's the whole
race, the whole black community. And it's something that what a lot of these so-called leaders had a problem with Martin as well, and as Malcolm, was that you're not doing things the traditional way that we did things. You're not doing it this way. Well, collective purpose. They had the same purpose, and that was the liberation of our people. But collective purpose does not mean thought control. And because you could not control these young men's energy at that time, your idea was, well, either they're gonna come underfoot or we're gonna take them down.
Right.
Because
I still want to be on top.
Because
I still want my agenda to go.
Yeah.
But you could push your agenda inside of their agenda. It's all one agenda. That's what
right.
I'm not understanding with it. I mean,
like I said, collective purpose does not mean, you know, group control.
Right.
You know, as long as we got the same goal, which we don't understand about revolution. See, that's why right now we keep looking for the Messiah. We keep looking for Malcolm's replacement. We keep looking for Martin's replacement.
We are Martin's replacement.
We are.
You are Martin's replacement.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It starts with you. And if it ain't starting with you, how can you be in a war, right? And you have a general with no warriors.
Right.
I mean, okay, Martin was the general, or whatever. Whoever is at that point, Mountain, all of them was generals, but they ain't have any warriors.
Right.
And the warriors that they had were so easily manipulated that they cannot be a warrior. They can turn it to be a informer. And you know, they can flip against you. You don't want you don't want them type of people that's on your squad.
Right. And that's why when, you know, like SCLC, when Martin was assassinated, SCLC pretty much fell apart, okay, because they were too dependent on the voice of their general instead of being the warrior. See, in order to lead, you have to be able to be led, right? And when you're, you know, part of the troops, and you can't be led because you're looking on what you're going to get out of it, what's in it for you instead of the group.
Individually.
Individually. See, Fred Hampton, another general, another great leader, what he said was this. He said, look, you can kill the revolutionary, but let us not be in a place where you can kill the revolution.
Right.
Okay, so what he was saying was, as long as we maintain these goals and ideals as a collective, whether they take down the head or not, someone has to be able to carry on.
Right. You got to think. These colonists put this process in effect over 100 years ago.
Yeah, more than that.
Now that takes planning. You understand? Generation passed down. It's passed down to generations. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know?
All right.
No, we're on the air.
I'm sorry, I had lots of things.
Okay, and as someone stopped by, you know, hey, this is what you get on live radio. But like I was saying, you know, this ideal that once you take the head, of course, the body will fall apart. Okay, we have to be in a place where no matter what or who is the head cannot. We got to stop these cults of personality. See, and that's what we had with the civil rights movement and even the Black Power movement. We had cults of personality instead of collective purpose, whether there was leadership, you know, that was strong enough or not to lead us into the future. This is the Open Eye. I'm Patrice Gibbs.
Nsoromma in the building.
All right.
What's up, homie? Yeah. She just walked in. She said she worked for him in his van across the street. Bro, and he left it open or something.
Hey, this is what happens on live radio. What you gonna do?
Walk in.
Yeah, that's right. You know, that just show you how we keeping it real.
That's right.
Jesus agrees. It's all good though. Get this people so. I run the CDs too.
I was rolling the springs, I don't know what, down the highway, man. I gotta get 2 lower control arms for my car.
You gotta do what?
2 lower control arms for my car. It's like that.
Yeah.
The mission of Delaware Center for Homeless Veterans centers around 2 main goals: housing and support services.
Yeah, we running that. We running that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, buddy.
We're running that. Yes, we are.
Definitely. You know, oh, we got some more coming for you. Did you catch me on the way in?
A little bit. I was just pulling up. I was
Okay.
like, damn, I ain't hearing this.
Yeah, it's all
I jumped in the car and was like, I was like,
what's that?
the bridge. Soon as you go over the bridge.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
St. George's Bridge.
Yeah.
Soon as you go over St. George's Bridge,
Okay.
the first exit right there.
Okay.
New houses that they built. Nice as shit. I was like, what time is it? Because my girl, she's there for early.
WHGE 95.3 FM. You know, they want to police our behavior, bro.
I mean, they are out to try to put the Willie Lynch letter in effect all over again for 2020.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
It's not a joke.
Nope.
And they looking at us as their cattle, human cattle.
Yeah. And, you know, no matter what aspect of our lives, I'll give you a couple of examples here. Now, student in class, college student, okay? He was told, he came in class in his regular seat, someone had taken his regular seat.
Right.
So he took a seat in the back, no problem, okay?
Without causing a problem.
Without
All right,
causing
go
a
ahead, you
problem.
can sit there. I'm still going to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No, it's all good, you know? So the student that was in his regular seat left. So the professor said, hey, your seat is open. Come on up here and sit in your regular seat. He said, I'm all right, I'm good. I don't want to pick up all my stuff and all that.
I'm good now. You ain't telling me to move when I came.
Right.
So what you telling me to move for now?
Right, so I'm good. All right. Professor Shaheem Boyler, this note here called the cops on the brother. What? He called the cops because the brother did not move back to his regular seat in the college class.
After he wouldn't tell a guy to move from his seat that it was regularly his.
Right.
Okay, you calling the cops on yourself?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
You know, why did the cops even come? See, that's that mess where, you know, you call the cops for nothing. You should get locked up for that.
Or at least fine.
$200
to $500 fine for calling the cops falsely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not a crime not to change your seat in class.
First of all, the crime was him. He didn't tell a guy to get up. So
right.
it starts from the beginning.
Yeah.
You can't go past the crime and then go get the guy that's the victim. Nah.
No.
I mean, that's what they do to us. That's the process that they used for us. He had a little white boy sitting in the guy's seat and didn't want to tell a white boy to move. Right. And now, I mean, yo, it's getting ridiculous, man. It's getting and my thing is, we have to get ridiculous too.
That's
if we're not getting ridiculous too, it's going to continue to happen to us.
That's right.
So we have to start using what they use. Right. Sue them
every time.
Every time they open their mouth, every time they do something wrong against you, you take and get their name and you put in a civil suit to them and you make them pay out their pocket.
That's right.
I mean, period. That's it.
That's it. Because we're not in a position to jump up and start spilling blood
and fighting. We're not in a position. They already want us to do that. They want our reaction to be a holler. What you say? You going to jail.
Go off.
I mean, you gotta be calm, collective. Well, okay, well, listen, officer, can I get some information? I need his information. I need your information. I need all the people involved in this information. So
I'm going to take your money.
You don't even tell them that. You just say, because I need it for my reference, or for my logs, or for my book, or for my, for me, so I can know what's going on. And then you take that information and you go to a lawyer and you go do the dirt with one of their people that they don't think, or that they think like them, but it's all about money. You know what I'm saying? So if you go to a lawyer and say, look, this happened to me, yo, now this is crazy, not to go off subject.
Okay.
A young man was working and he was discriminated at his job. And you know what I'm saying? The discrimination at his job led to him doing a lawsuit and so on. And he won the lawsuit. The lawsuit pays.
I know where you go.
The lawsuit. You do.
Yeah.
So the lawsuit pays out. The lawsuit pays out 3 checks, $50,000, $20,000. I think it was $15,000.
Right.
He had all these checks.
Right.
All these checks at the same time. He goes to the bank and the bank that he goes to his normal bank. He always go in. They look at him and go, "Oh, don't check the checks.
No.
Don't, you know, when you get a check, you can tell it here. Throw it around that little circly thing. When you put your check in there, they go around that, and it'll tell you if it's good or not.
Right.
She never did that.
No.
She goes automatically. The police, call the police, and the police run there on him with bum rushing and everything. So, how do you think that turned out?
Well, I'm gonna tell you how it turned out. All right. He went to another bank, and of course his check was valid. And he cashed it and deposited and opened a new account at the bank with no problem. And now the bank that he first went to that wouldn't cash the check, and by the way, the woman that looked at him and said, "Oh, a black man can't have this kind of money." Yeah, can't have this kind of money.
She gonna say that.
Yeah, was a black woman. Okay.
See, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
that's the catch.
That's the catch. That's the catch. You know what that's called, don't you? You know that's mammy-ism.
Mammy-ism?
Mammy-ism.
Oh, mammy-ism.
Mammy-ism.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh no.
She's been trained.
She's been trained.
Right.
She's been trained. Nickel peeing dead wench, appeasing her white masters. Said, nope, a black man can't. I've been there, and I'm gonna tell you about that too. All right. Told the man, nope, can't do it. And of course, her white managers backed her to the hilt and all this, that, and the other. Good girl. Good girl. You did the right thing.
Right.
You know.
Now, back.
Yep. Now he's suing that bank.
Of course.
Damn right.
These are checks I brought in here for discrimination on what you're doing to me now. I just want it, and you think I'm going to let you do this?
Right.
And that's what it's about. Every black person that gets that done to them, if you put all of these people in court that's doing it, and the court has to decide their fate like it does us, then we'll start seeing. I mean, even though you know, white supremacists and justice is really unequal, you could see it and all that, but it's the process. You have to perform the process. If you don't put them through the process like they put us through the process, they always gonna be a heel.
Always. You know, because they live with white privilege, like you said. And if you don't punish them for their actions, we're not going to be able to bring about change.
Right. I know plenty of white people that don't abide or don't associate themselves with these type of white supremacists. They are really upset about how they have to define themselves because they're not like that.
Right, because you got white people that are tired of white people's crap.
Right. Some white people know that, that's full of it, man. Come on, man.
And they ain't going. They ain't going for it. And like you said, you gotta keep. See, here's the thing. Something I learned in the service, right? That I learned in the Air Force, and that was learn the system and use the system.
Right.
Okay.
Because they built it against you. They built a system to catch you. Right. So if you learn their system, learn their language and their vocabulary, and then we'll know. It's been plenty of times I'll go sit in a court and just listen to people, court cases and stuff like that, where I have to look the word up that they're talking about to this person, and I know the person don't know what the word means, and when I look it up, it's something that's degrading them or putting them in jail, or directing them to the path of jail, and they agree to it. So once you agree and participate, now you're caught.
That's it. Now I'm gonna tell you, I told you that with this mammy-ism, okay, I experienced that myself. I'll tell you two stories here. One about mammy-ism, two about using the system when I was in the Air Force. First, the story about mammy-ism. Okay, I've done research for different agencies and what have you on University of Delaware, working in what have you. All right. Now, when I did this research, it paid well.
Right.
But at the time, I was unemployed when I took on the research project. Okay.
Right.
So I'm collecting unemployment checks. But the research that I did in like less than 2 weeks.
Right.
All right. Boom.
So you did something that's supposed to take a month in less than 2 weeks.
Right.
And
turned in my paperwork and got paid.
Right.
Okay. All right. So of course, being smart enough to operate within the system, I reported the money that I got paid from the University of Delaware.
Right.
The clerk at the Department of Labor looked at this and said, "Oh, you've been working all along. There's no way you can make that kind of money in this short of time."
Well, that's bullshit.
What are you talking about? So I'm skilled in what I do, And so being skilled at what I do, I'm well competent. Mammyism. You know, ain't no way that this black dude with dreadlocks and earrings come up here with a report that kind of money in less than a week. So you've been working all along, and I'm gonna see to it that your unemployment is cut off.
Wow.
Yeah, buddy. So of course there was a hearing, and of course, being the smart dude that I am, my paperwork was straight.
Of course.
You know,
I ain't gonna do nothing to hurt myself and jeopardize myself, so
right.
I'll make sure I'm straight, and that's what we all have to do.
Yeah, you know, and I had to get a little help. And what have you, but you know, having integrity, the politician that I called on to step up for me stepped right up and said, hey, this man is who he says he is. And so the deputy ruled in my favor, and I got my money.
But look what you had to go through.
Look what I had to go through.
The white guy didn't do none of that.
No.
Right. And he can have a check that bounce he wrote out himself. It ain't even got typing on it. And they just go, okay, sir, have a nice day. You know what I mean? And that's so sickening that they trained us to get us.
Yeah. But, you know, now another one, using the system. When I was my first couple of years in the Air Force Station, that was a beautiful March Air Force Base in Southern California, having the ball, and I was designated trainer. Okay. I was training people that outranked me. Okay. One was this white dude. He'd been in 10, 15 years. And he switched over to our job. Okay, so I got a training. Well, he couldn't take it.
Couldn't take being trained by a black guy.
Couldn't take it, especially a young black guy.
Right.
So I went to, you know, my first sergeant and say, hey, look, you have to get somebody else to train this dude. This is going to be trouble. He said, no, you document everything that he does and you use the system. When it blows up, we got you. Well, of course it blew up. One time I told him how he had to do something on the radio. You're not going to tell me that, Airman, and flip me in the chair up in the air on the floor. That's assault.
Most definitely.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? At 19 years old, high-headed and what have you, I'm gonna whoop his ass.
Right.
You know. You know, that was my first reaction. Yeah, but gratefully, some other airmen grabbed me and what have you. They said, remember what the first sergeant told you? Use the system. That's right.
Right.
Use the system. So I went and had him locked up instead.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna lock you up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what you did to us. Go to Brink for 40 days.
You know, that's weird. So
but that's the way you got to do.
Yeah,
that's what you got to do. You got to make them pay where it hurts them at. Like they hurt us. They hurt us, taking us away from our family, locking us up. And, you know, I mean.
Yeah. And like I said, this control thing. They try to police every aspect of our lives. All right. Like the young man in Texas, DeAndre Arnold. All right. Now he's been going to school. It's coming up time for graduation and what have you. And he's been going to school with dreadlocks ever since he's been in high school. Now all of a sudden they decided he could not participate in the graduation ceremony unless he cuts his locks. Again, policing our people's hair.
Nah, that's simply discrimination. That's you not having a right to be the person you are or who you want to be. And they always pump that. You got lesbians and gay people and all of that, but I can't have my hair the way I want.
Right.
I mean, what's going on? All the things that these laws that they be putting in effect is directed at all the things that we do and not none of the things they do.
Right.
So, and in hand, that's discrimination suit. Period. I mean, for our whole people to put in a discrimination suit. Right. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
the cultural.
Two states, New York and California, have actually had to put laws on the book that you cannot police black people's hair. They had to put laws on the book to stop schools, employers.
But let me help you understand something too. When they say laws on the books, that's not laws. There are codes, and that's stuff that they're making up. A code is not a law. You know what I'm saying? A code is something that someone put in that's running an organization, and it's one of their codes. A law is from the treaty, the government, not even the government, because the government really can't make up laws. They make up codes because they're a corporation. You understand? The law comes from the law of the land. The law of the land is say everyone's their own individual, just like you was born. You know what I'm saying? You went by yourself. You was born in an entity. So they can't control that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They kill it when you're born by
Right.
giving you a birth certificate,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what gives them the control.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? When you are born and they give your parents, or they manipulate your parents and giving you a birth certificate and name, oh, what's his name? He looks so pretty. How much he weigh? And all of this. That's a setup from the gate.
Right.
So once you accept that, you're accepting the fact that I can't take care of myself. That's what the government does. That's what that birth certificate means. You can't take care of yourself. You're under our sovereign. We're taking care of you. So you're no longer a sovereign soul. You can't take care of yourself.
Okay.
So
now what happens if you don't have a birth certificate? If you don't have a social security card?
You have to have a live certificate. A living live birth certificate. And that's the difference. That's where they get us. When you're in the hospital and they supposed to come out with that living live birth certificate, they come out with a regular governmental birth certificate. The switch is there.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's when they go, okay, you're dead in the commerce world because this birth certificate is worth some money. It's worth $650,000.
Right.
You know, every person that's born is worth $650,000. That's how the government controls their money and their
your collateral.
Commerce. Your collateral. Right, your collateral. Your collateral. You're not even a living soul now. You're just a product, like a box, macaroni box. Right. You can't talk. So when they taking that in effect, when you go in the cop, see a cop or something, they ask you your name, or you this guy on this ID. You say, yeah, you're not that ID. You're your own person. You're two separate entities.
Okay. Well, look, like I said, what we call it codes or laws. The point is that they had to make rules within their state to protect black people from being discriminated against because of their hairstyle. And this is something that dates back all the way actually to, what is it, the 1700s in New Orleans, with the tie-on laws. Now the tie-on laws, which I'm sure some of our people that know our history know, that the black women of New Orleans, the slave women of New Orleans and free black women of New Orleans, had such elaborate, beautiful hairstyles that they attracted. This was one of the reasons they attracted the white men. Well, the white women, they are kicked up about this and said, look, you black women got to cover that pretty hair up. We can't just, let them keep running around attracting these white men.
Right.
So they came up with the tie-on law, which meant that black women had to wrap their hair. Okay, but black women, being the creative creatures that they are,
wrap their hair just as sexy,
just as beautiful as as it was unwrapped and what have you. And so it really had no effect on the attraction of slave owners, white men, wealthy men, whether they were black or white or whatever. Okay, and this has been going on and on and on. Now here's the crazy part about our hair. Okay, when our women wear cornrows, and men wear dreadlocks, women wear dreadlocks, and this, that, and the other. Okay, and society at large frowns on this. Okay, but you get what's her name, Kim Kardashian, or one of these fashion designers put cornrows in their model's hair, and this, that, and the other. Pure cultural appropriation. Okay, it's called daring and fashionable, and this, that, and the other thing. And it's all right for them to do that and what have you. Well, the same thing that we get discriminated against.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like, this system is designed to make us that product.
Right.
We're not human. That's what they mean by that. You're not human, and they really mean that because they snatch that away from you. And you're really not human because you're participating.
Right. And like you said, now, another thing I got to get with is, remember last week when I talked about the jails in Mississippi.
Right.
Okay. And how they got information out
about what's going on.
What have you. Well, they use a cell phone that someone smuggled in.
Right.
Okay. Well,
they found them.
12 years, Yana. 12 years for having a cell phone in jail. Yeah, I mean, this is what you call cruel and unusual punishment. You're going to give this man, who was probably, let me see, how much was the brother serving?
I mean, he was probably in there unjust anyway. I mean, that's the cycle in the system. To really break it down and say that he was in there for this and that, nah, he probably wasn't even supposed to be in there from the gate. And they, you know, somebody got him a cell phone. He's like, oh my God, look at this, boom. But now you can't show what's going on. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Now,
man.
You know, just to give you an idea, all right? Now, just to give you an idea how crazy it is. You had a Mississippi woman who suffered a miscarriage and a hit and run moments after leaving a baby shower. White man who run across the frightening and intimidate black neighbor sentenced to 3 years. How Mississippi continues to keep black people from winning state elections. You know, these things go on and on, all right? Man who run across on a black family's yard, just 2 years.
They should have blew his head off.
You
know, he was on his lawn, on their lawn. They should have took their shotgun and blew his head off like on one of them horror movies, straight like that.
Now, Willie Nash, you know, who had a cell phone that belonged to him. Okay, he had a cell phone that belonged to him. All right, they didn't take it from him. So he's in jail with his cell phone that they didn't take from him. They didn't compensate. They failed to do their job.
Right. And now here it is again.
And so they're going to give him 12 years because they're going to do their
like
job.
I'm supposed to go, oh, here's my cell phone too.
Yeah,
right. I don't even want to be here. So I'm going to shut up just like period. You know what I mean? That's crazy, man.
Yeah. You
and
know?
That's sickening, man. That get under my skin. You know what I'm saying? That has me on go for real. So.
Now, one of the worst things that you can do when you get locked up is get a public defender.
I mean, the whole process is sorcery, man. You got to look at what it is they doing to you. First of all, they kill you at birth, like I'm saying. They kill you at birth, and you become a commerce. And
let me tell you though. You know, because when you get a public defender, you can't afford a lawyer. That's all I'm saying. You out there doing something.
Public defender work for the state, right? You won't be.
They all officers.
They don't look for you to go home. A public defender never look for you to go home. They always look for a plea. That's not on my side.
That's not on your side.
I didn't do it. I'm not pleading to anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what they do.
That's messy.
Yeah. So what they do is, you know, your public defender, who is an officer of the court, who has lunch with the prosecutor and the judge.
Possibly their related family member.
Probably a cousin, nephew, son-in-law, or something. Okay? He tells you, well, look, here's the deal. Now, you know, you got these charges against you, and they're going to add some more charges and what have you, and you're probably looking at about 12 years. But if you take the plea, like, well, I'll see to it that you get $4,000 worth of fines and you do maybe 3 or 4 years in jail. I mean, that's just, you know, that's the easier way to go about it. But I didn't do it. Well, that doesn't really matter. You know, they decided that you did, and they decided you're guilty, and therefore, if you go come on and take this plea deal, it'll make your life easier. I mean, you're looking at 15 years. It's going to really make them angry if you don't take this plea deal. They might do, you know, they're going to load the court up. They're going to load the jury up with all white guys, you know, and you know you're pretty tall and you're pretty dark, and so you're probably looking at about 20 years. So it's best for you to take this plea deal. But I didn't do it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, when you got scoundrels running the system we're supposed to believe in, it's no longer a system that we believe in. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we got to start at. This system is the one that helped go bomb that town of all black people, and no one got arrested.
Right. Which is why Martin was so dangerous.
Right. How was that possible?
Because he talked about changing the system.
Right. I mean, that's where it got to start. You got to not participate in the system, and not participate in the system is knowing what the system is doing to you and how to get out of the system.
Well, you know, the thing is, you know, a student of the art of war is to take the system from the inside out, and then you can change the system. You know, we still got to operate. We still got to eat. You know, that's where. You know, look, we didn't play a whole lot of music today.
It's raining. We need to kick up conversation.
Yeah, we need some good conversation and what have you. You know, that's where. Oh, I can't forget this. I'm glad I went through here. Everybody remembers Stop and Frisk in New York. Well, Mr. Stop and Frisk himself, former Mayor Bloomberg, billionaire, is running for president.
Oh,
okay.
Lord.
Yes, indeed. Now, not only is he running for president, but he said, you know, well, I've had some real soul searching, and stop and frisk was wrong. It was wrong. Yeah, now you got, and I'm sorry. Well, you know what? How many times you heard me say, I don't really do apologies. You slap my face and then apologize, and leave my face still standing. You go to hell. That's the damn shit.
I'm like, see, these people do that, and then this is who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then they run for a big office or president or whatever, and then they have to go back and say, I'm sorry, for the simple fact so they can get in office, so they can get put in position and do worse things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
now Bloomberg is a smart dude. I'm gonna give it to him. He's a smart dude. All right. So he's been listening to, you know, black media, and he's been hearing the calls for reparations and what have you.
Right.
So what he did was he said, look, I got a plan, and it's called the Greenwood Initiative. Okay, Bloomberg do his homework, Jack. Listen now. Greenwood Initiative is a plan named after the Greenwood District, otherwise known as Black Wall Street, a Tulsa neighborhood that was once considered one of the most economically prosperous communities in the U.S. We all heard of Black Wall Street by now, especially if you're open-eyed listener. The neighborhood was the center of a deadly two-day attack by a white mob during the 1920s.
That had help from the government.
That had help from the government.
Yeah.
The first city in America to be bombed from the air. Okay.
In America.
In America.
Right.
Was, you know, the first community to be bombed from the air. Move in Philadelphia. Right. A second. Okay. Now, Bloomberg said for hundreds of years, America has systematically stole black lives, black freedom, and black labor. Bloomberg said that the impact on death over a period of centuries has been an enormous loss of wealth for individuals and families across generations, a kind of compound interest in reverse. Well, it's past time to say enough and to damn well do something about it. Okay. Now, Bloomberg has pledged $70 billion to bolster Black America with his new plan. I'm going to have to look more into this.
Most definitely.
You know, because
they say a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, because, you know, you talk a good game.
Right.
And that sounds real good. You know.
When the buzzer go off.
Yep. It's a whole nother
I thought we was playing basketball. You wrestling.
Yeah. You know.
I got all basketball stuff and you got all wrestling. You wrestling.
That's word.
And that's how they do it.
That's how they do it. That is how they do it. And like I said, you know, we're gonna have to take a closer look at Mr. Stockman Frisk. Don't trust him. Like Flavor Flav said, don't trust him. Don't trust him.
Open eye.
95.3 FM.
It's still good.
Oh, you right there. You right there.
It's still.
Yeah, but we got great times.
Oh God.
Let me tell you, last week I talked about what and who, or I talked about a revolutionary that we all know. And we'll get some people that confused on what and who a revolutionary is. To those of you that are confused as to what is a revolutionary is an agent of change. A revolutionary is an agent of change. Bang your head against the wall 3 times and listen to me again. A revolutionary is an agent of change. Some well-known agents of change: Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Ida B. Wells, Marcus Garvey, Robert Abbott, Louis Armstrong, A. Philip Randolph, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., Patrice Lumumba, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Angela Davis, Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, Fred Hampton, Stokely Carmichael. These people all affected change and were a threat to the establishment. There are others that can be added to the list, but there are many that do not belong on this list because they do not bring about any change. Some of y'all are not going to like this. Louis Farrakhan does not make this list. Louis Farrakhan is a very wealthy spiritual leader and very astute social observer. Tupac does not make this list. Tupac was a very informed entertainer and son of a revolutionary who was on his way to being a revolutionary. What is required for a revolution? Vision, planning, discipline, leadership, and something we talked about earlier, unity of purpose. Without these in place, there is no revolution, there is no effective change. Wake up, my people. And as I always tell you, destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority who treat you as an option.
Yeah.
I'm Patrice Gibbs.
Nsoromma.
This is
The Open Eye. WHGE 95.3 FM. Yaga.
that time go quick. Y'all tell me. It's over. That's right. Hey, thanks for joining us on Facebook Live. We will see you next week. All right, all right.